rock, most people enjoy a good story. Imagine a story where you rock. I challenge you to make a difference in the world and then share your story and to inspire, bring hope and encouragement to others. Together, let us create a better, more peaceful world. Let's not just imagine world peace, let's work for it. Are you doing something rocking in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, or the world? I would love to have you on my show to share your rocking stories. We are here with Audrey Bayduza, choir director, musician, and more. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about the history of how did you get involved in music?
Well, it was always just a standard part of our education as children. In the Ukrainian tradition, there's so much importance placed on choral singing, both in folk music and in church music. That was sort of what we grew up with. And as families settled here in Canada and became prosperous enough to purchase instruments, we sort of naturally moved on to that. Some of my older siblings started out on the violin, which I think was my father's favorite instrument, but one of my older sisters managed to talk him into buying a piano. And that was what got me started on that.
So that's your number one instrument?
That is.
How many instruments do you play?
Well, really only the piano. I can fake it a bit on the organ. But really the piano is the only one I think I've sort of mastered.
Well, I've heard you play and you're excellent.
Thank you.
So tell us about your many hats. I know you wear many hats and do different things for the community.
Like most musicians, I have to do a whole lot of different things. Primarily I teach. I concentrate on teaching theory, which is sort of the grammar of music. It's something I've always really loved. For me, it's sort of the equivalent of being able to take the radio apart and figure out how it works and put it back together again. So you're doing the same thing with that. So I do a lot of teaching. I'm part of a trio, the Gala Trio, which includes Arlene Shiplet, who plays French horn with the Saskatoon Symphony, and Galen Kern, who's a very good soprano. So we do a certain amount of performing around the city. I do a fair amount of substitute work as an organist, a church organist, and pianist. Other than that, I do whatever performing I can get my hands on. I conduct the Holosay, the Ukrainian community choir, and I also sing with the choir, the Sicilian Singers.
So you're a very busy lady and a very talented lady.
Well, thank you.
Talk a little bit about Holosay Choir, which I'm a member, but what does it mean? And talk
well,
about
the word Holosay means voices, and when we were choosing a name for the choir, that was one that I really approved of, because there is a song named Holosay, which was quite popular in Ukraine back in the 1980s. The words are, I think, very appropriate for the choir. They talk about voices celebrating beauty, voices celebrating faith, voices, more than anything else, bringing hope. So we've kind of made that our theme song. The choir started mostly because people felt the need for just a general Ukrainian community choir, one that was not connected with any church or any particular organization, that was simply open to anyone of any age who wanted to sing Ukrainian music. So we've been in existence for over 10 years, about 12 years now. I thought it was only going to last a few weeks when I started.
Much your surprise and
That's
success.
Right. That's right.
That's for sure.
So a big part of our mandate is that we don't want to just sing for the Ukrainian community. We want to sing for the community at large. We want to share our music with everyone. So we do a lot of things like singing at the Festival of Trees. We sang recently at the Saskatoon Heritage Festival. We've sung at both of the Ukrainian museums. A couple of years ago we recorded a CD. 2014 marked the 200th anniversary of the birth of Taras Shevchenko, who is, as I always say, he is to Ukrainian literature what William Shakespeare is to English literature, and even more. But that was the 200th anniversary of his birth, and so we recorded a CD of his poetry set to music. It was an interesting project. I think both the choir and I learned a great deal from it. It worked well for the choir because we have added to our repertoire a number of lesser-known songs, poetry set to music by Shevchenko. So that's kind of what we do.
Well, and you know, it's a beautiful CD, and if people want to get a hold of it, how can they get a hold of it?
Any member of the choir, so either Marianne, either you or me, we have these. The Ukrainian Museum on Avenue N, Musée Ukraina, it's called. They also have copies in their store.
So tell us why it's so important to sing or do choirs or you know, contribute to society this way. That's why I wanted to have you on my show, because you rock, because you're doing something that's important for the community. And why do you think that's important?
Well, I think singing is something that comes naturally to everybody, and there are all sorts of studies about the sort of the physical, the emotional, the social benefits for us as individuals. Singing, I think, as I say, it comes naturally to everyone. If we don't actually do it, we certainly enjoy listening to it. But certainly doing it is particularly good for us. There are all sorts of physical studies that show that singing increases, for example, it strengthens your immune system, it strengthens your posture, it strengthens your lung capacity, reduces stress, it releases endorphins, all those wonderful kinds of things that make you feel good.
Okay. Which is important.
So they are. So for those people who participate, certainly there are all of those benefits, and even for those people who just come and listen, I think particularly for those of us who live in northern countries where there's such a long period where things are cold and dark, and I know that from my own experience singing in the choir, there are so many times when people come into rehearsal and they kind of say, oh, it's dark, oh, it's cold, I really didn't want to come. But half an hour in, they're saying, gee, I feel much better now. I'm really glad I came.
And that's true. Being a choir member and I sing, that is so true. And it's very important that we do that, the health benefits. So talk about the contribution to society as a whole, though, how important that singing is, and having choirs so that people can go out and hear us.
Certainly, one I hadn't thought about today. We enjoy doing the singing, we enjoy listening to it. It opens up to us, I think, doorways into so many different cultures. We sing, of course, mostly Ukrainian music. But the choir that I sing with, I mean, we end up singing in a number of different languages. We bring music from various kinds of countries, various kinds of cultures. It opens up all of those doorways for people. And we all know that, we listen to music all the time. I think listening particularly to choral music is particularly sort of satisfying, because I can watch someone play the violin and I can say, well, that's very nice, but I don't play that. But everyone can sing, so it gives us that connection with something that we can do. And certainly it's a way for cultures to share
and I think that's very important, to learn about other cultures.
Absolutely.
Because it promotes peace and understanding, and you learn about other people, and that's always important.
That's right.
And it develops a better society as a whole. So talk about being the choir director versus singing in a choir and being directed by someone else. How is that?
Well, choirs are excellent places to learn certain life skills, and one of the most important ones that you learn is how to work as part of the team. It's learning when to lead and when you need to follow and how to follow, because I think that's every bit as important as knowing how to lead. One of my favorite stories actually is about Julie Payette, who was one of Canada's early astronauts. And she was being interviewed by Peter Zosky, and he was asking about the selection process that she had to go through to be chosen to be an astronaut. And one of the things that the committee was really, really concerned about was the candidate's ability to work as a member of a team. I mean, if you're up in space for an extended period of time, you're working with these people, you're living on top of each other, you've got to be able to get along. And her response was, she said, that was no problem. I just told the committee that I'd been singing in a choir for 13 years and that was it. There's no room for prima donnas in a choir. You have to learn to work as a team. You have to learn to be and learn a lot of diplomatic skills. If somebody next to you keeps singing the wrong thing, you have to learn how to say very politely, that and how to correct them politely. And you need to learn to do that, and you learn because you learn very quickly that they may be making the mistake this time, but next time you're going to be the one making the mistake.
Yeah, we're all human,
So,
that's for sure. But it teaches a lot of life skills.
Oh,
and,
absolutely, yeah.
and that's very important. Again, another skill that you can give.
Absolutely, and it exposes you just to a lot of other people that you might not meet normally. Just the wide variety of professions and working lives, working careers that are represented in the choirs. I mean, we have lawyers, we have veterinarians, we have carpenters and plumbers and engineers and all kinds of different people. You get to come together in that sort of common meeting ground, which is the choir. And so you get to meet a lot of people and make friends with a lot of people that you would not otherwise have known.
And it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
haven't talked about the entertainment aspect, but how important and have fun and entertainment and laugh and all that is part.
Well, it's all part of, getting all that oxygen into your system.
That's for sure. So you're also a music teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, so if people want to get a hold of you, or do you take students, or do you have auditions, or how does the process work?
Well, no auditions, because I don't actually teach the performance aspect, because I teach just theory. I have students who play all sorts of instruments. The grammar of it, how it's put together and how things work is the same no matter what instrument you're playing. It's essentially how to read, how to write. So yes, they can get a hold of me. I'm not taking a lot of new students right now. I'm listed with the Saskatchewan Registered Music Teachers Association, and if you just Google SRMTA, you'll find their website, and you'll find me listed amongst their teachers.
Okay, and what about a website for Holosay? How do you join that choir?
Very easy. It's just the choir name, HOLOSY. Okay. I have to think for a minute. .weebly.com. Okay. And Weebly is spelled WEEBLY. And there's a contact form there and lots of information about the choir, and you're certainly visit at any time. Okay?
Sure.
So that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of us.
And your trio, are you available for concerts?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We just did a concert recently, a benefit concert for a refugee sponsorship project, which is something I feel very strongly about. We were delighted. It was quite a success. They were able to raise a substantial amount of money for their project. But yes, we do concerts. Again, the website is just Gala Trio. It's all one word, GALATRIO.weebly.com.
Well, awesome. Thank you for being on my show. And
You're
it's
welcome.
a pleasure, and enjoy singing.
I will.
That was Audrey Bayduza with the choirs.